I have spent more than 3 years in the US and now I stand at the crossroads. I have less than 2 years left on my visa and no H1-B and one last shot. If that doesn't work out, I might have to leave this country permanently, which I now call home. What do you do when the future is uncertain and the time is ticking? Hello everyone, this is Piyush. Welcome back to my channel. Let me take you back to the start where it all started. My USA journey started from having that American dream to study in the US and work here and earn money. This is how I applied to various universities and I got an admit from Purdue University for a master's in civil engineering. I started my master's at Purdue in spring of 2022, that is January of 2022, and I completed my master's in 2 years. So I graduated in December of 2023, and Purdue has been nothing short of an amazing experience, to be honest. Like whether it's the living the American dream, living the campus life, meeting a amazing bunch of people which I can now call family. Like I have been so privileged to meet a lot of amazing people and made a lot of good memories. On top of that, I could also travel a lot of places in the US, all the major cities such as New York, Texas, California, Florida, Las Vegas, and so on. But time really flies. I don't even remember how the 2 years at Purdue flew away, but here I was graduated from Purdue with a master's degree in December of 2023. Right after that, I was fortunate enough to get a full-time and start working with a US company based in New York. I started working on my OPT, that is optional practical training. If you are not much aware about how the F1 visa works, so after you graduate, you get 1 year to work in the US. That's on OPT, optional practical training. And if you are a STEM student, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and maths. So if your degree falls under any one of this category and considered as STEM degree, you can work additional 2 years on top of the 1 year. So on a STEM degree, you can work for 3 years after you graduate. And these are the 3 years where your company sponsors you for your H1-B visa. And if your H1-B is picked, you can work for 3 years and an additional extension of 3 years. So whenever your H1-B is picked, you can work for 6 additional years. But in my situation, unfortunately, my company didn't sponsor me for my first year. I even worked with them for 8 months and tried to convince them a lot. Like I picked this company because of the culture and I really look forward to work in the long term, but I think they had some policy for which they couldn't apply me for my H1-B in my first attempt. So my first attempt was gone, wasted, and I couldn't do anything about it. This year, that is 2025, was my second attempt at the H1-B, and luckily the company applied as per their policy, but I was not lucky enough to get my H1-B picked. I think this year the chances were a bit high considering that a lot of fake applications were thrown away, but still like luck was not in my favor, so I didn't get picked this year as well. Now I have one last attempt left, that is in March 2026. That will be the last attempt, and if my H1-B is not picked, then I would be at the crossroads. Like I would have to make a tough decision on what my future looks like and what decision do I take. I currently work on my STEM OPT, which expires in January of 2027, but my visa, the US visa, expires on December of 2026. So technically, even if I don't get picked in the April of 2026 lottery, I still have, let's say, like 8 months to work in the US before I have to leave the US or come up with some different options. I have some options laid out on the table. Let's try to discuss them one by one. First is obviously going back to India. So just packing all my stuff and going back to India. This will be a really good thing because I would be closer to my family, having all the convenience and friends with me. But to be honest, I haven't worked in India, so I don't know how that situation looks like, how the job market works, how much is the pay, and what is the work culture, and so on. So I might prefer that, but still I have to give it a thought, like what to do if I go back to India. Second option I think is a bit convenient option for many of the people. That is, if your company has offices in Canada, which most of the US companies have. So if they have that option, they might probably relocate you to Canada. Maybe you work for a few years, couple of years or 3 years, and then come back to the US on some other visa. I think that's L1B visa if I'm not wrong. This is what many people do. Like US is quite accessible to Canada, so it's not like a huge move that you have to make. The third option is getting relocated to some third country, let's say UK, Australia, or any other European country. Again, this is an option for you if your company is based globally and have offices all around the world. If the manager trusts you, you can try to convince them and let them know your visa situation and tell them if that's a practical option that they can implement for you. The fourth option, again, I've heard it a lot, is day one CPT. To be honest, I haven't researched too much into it, but it's somewhat like you get enrolled in a not so well-known university in the US and you can start working from day one. Usually the CPT you can work only after you finish 1 or 2 semesters in your university, but in the day one CPT, as it's not a well-known university, you can just take some courses, work on them on the weekends and start working from day one. But I think that's a risky option because I think you have to give an interview with the consulate again and give that interview again. And considering the current political situation, I think it's really difficult to get approved for these types of universities, to be honest. So I think earlier it was a bit easier, but if that's the situation right now, you might have to think twice before taking this option. The fifth option with us is doing our PhD. Honestly, I'm not willing to invest 4 or 5 years doing a PhD, getting into the academic industry, because I believe that now is the right time for me to work in the industry, work on the actual projects, earn money, and also grow in my professional career. So personally, I won't be willing to do a PhD and get into the university life again. It might be an option for some, like if you are really interested in some research, you might consider this option, but I think personally it's not for me at this moment. So these are some of the options that you might consider if you are in a similar situation. To be really honest, when I came in the US, I didn't think long term of what my future looks like, whether I will be working permanently in the US, going back to India, going to any third country, doing my double masters, PhD and so on. But now the time is ticking and I really have to make that tough decision. Like going back to India again, as I mentioned, is a easy decision, but USA has given me a lot of great memories, a lot of friends, and shaped me into a person who I am today. The YouTube channel that I have started wouldn't have been possible if I didn't come to the US. So I'm forever grateful and I will always be grateful for everything that US has given me, whether it's taking my own responsibility, living by myself. Like I was not used to it, but after coming here, I have learned a lot of things, learned how to be nice with people, like find new people whom you can call family, go out with them, travel to various places. Even if you're alone, like you don't need a big company, but even if you're alone, that's fine, and you get to find and explore yourself, like what are your interests. You start to love yourself, and this is a really blissful experience for me, to be honest. But now I am forced to think, do I stay or do I go? Even if I stay, the question remains how. I know the situation is a bit tricky right now and a bit scary as well, but this is what makes life interesting. Like if you know everything about what will happen in the future, then it's not an interesting thing. But yeah, that the uncertainty is what makes life beautiful, and I'm really embracing it. I still haven't made a decision, to be honest. This is where I stand right now. If you were in a similar situation, or if you are in a similar situation, please comment down your situation and your story and what you have thought about your future. Like I know that there are hundreds and thousands of people in the same situation, so don't feel that you are alone. Like we are a good bunch of people. We'll try to help each other on how to navigate this tough time and how to make a decision about your future if your H1B is not picked. Obviously, if the H1B is picked, then at least you have that flexibility to choose your own terms and decide like if you want to go back to India or stay in the US. But if it doesn't get picked, luck is not on your favor, then we have to make that tough decision. Again, I have around 1.5 years left in the US before that decision, but I will need to start thinking about it from now so that I'm well prepared when the time comes and let's say the H1B is not picked. Please share this video with all the people who are in the same situation so that they don't feel alone and we can all find a solution together, like based on your personal circumstances. Like and subscribe my channel if you find my content useful. Thank you again for all the support on all my tax filing or any other videos for that matter. Thank you. It's only because of you all that I have crossed the 1,000 subscribers mark, and I'm really grateful for each one of you reaching out to me personally, thanking me for my videos and supporting me like right from the start. I'm really privileged to have subscribers like you all. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.